Live from Austin, Texas, where we didn't have anything to do with the armadillo that killed Mr. Peanut. It's Retro Pals with Danny and Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Danny. I've never met an armadillo in my life. There's certainly not one hiding out in my bedroom, escaping the law, and I know nothing about any brands. I've never heard of a brand in my life. I've never heard of a mascot. You show me a peanut, and I'm like, that's a delicious treat, and nothing else. Nothing.
Yep, those of you who haven't checked the internet today, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but beloved brand icon Mr. Peanut has died at the hands of an armadillo. Perhaps a Texan armadillo. Not going to make any assumptions. The hero Peanut swerved to avoid the armadillo and unfortunately died in the aftermath. So this is the first step of many. In the weeks and months ahead, you can expect many of your favorite brand icons to die. I think Mr. Clean and the Kool-Aid Man are going to do some kind of murder-suicide thing. You'll see. You'll see. Basically, there's no rules in the world of mascots anymore.
One mascot does have to kill another. It is law. It is brand law. Brand shall kill brand. That is the whole of brand law. Thank you, Game Coder. Don't know why you subscribed when I said that. They resubscribed for 16 months. Thank you so much. Yeah, Food Fight too. But with, yeah. Oh my God, we're all angels.
Even though we're all in mourning, I know, we have to move on. We have to be strong. Mr. Peanut would want it this way. This week we are playing Sega Genesis prototypes and unreleased video games. We asked our patrons a simple choice, Super Nintendo or Genesis. And boy, those results were close.
Close one.
Truly, every vote counts in the Retro Pals patron community. Thank you to everyone who voted.
Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, so Sega Genesis just barely came out one vote ahead in spite of the Super Nintendo having a major prototype release this week. That'll have to wait. Punky Skunk, Coolie Skunk, whatever you want to call yourself, it's not your time tonight. Tonight, it is time for Sega Genesis and Mega Drive prototypes. Let's get this started. We got a whole bunch of games to show off. Now, I pitched this as betas and prototypes. I want to push the betas to the end of the show if we have time for them, because looking through all these prototypes, there are so many unreleased games, and I want to talk about all of them.
Okay.
So let's do that.
All right, what are we starting with?
We're starting with the big boy, Fido Dido.
Yes! The gay icon himself! Okay, so I think there have been enough new people in chat that I need to tell my Fido Dido story.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Fido Dido was a pretty big he was a pretty big mascot overseas for 7-Up, and especially in Europe he was pretty big. They used him a little bit here in America, but he wasn't super big. At least when I was growing up, I don't remember too much Fido Dido stuff. But one day, my parents were driving through West Hollywood, and my mom and her wife, and there was a leather shop, because West Hollywood is an old neighborhood, and in that leather shop was a poster for Fido Dido, and my little baby brain, not ever seeing the Fido Dido merch, was like, oh, Fido Dido must be about gay people, and to this day, I associate Fido Dido with the queer community, so he is. Sorry.
It's official.
He is a gay community. He
And
is a gay icon.
In terms of this stream, Fido Dido had an unreleased game for Sega Genesis, also slated for Super Nintendo, I believe. I don't think that version has surfaced. This is from Kaneko, who outsourced development to somebody. So you can think of this as the Sega Genesis version of Socks the Cat. This game has been available for many years, but Fido Dido, he's always a topic of discussion in our stream, so let's start the game.
Yeah, Stray Cat. I do get a Keith Haring vibe from him. That's where it comes from.
That's the thing, yeah.
Oh no.
Yo, dudes. 3, 2, 1, go. There he is. This is a side-scrolling platformer. The C button snaps your fingers. That's really the only thing he can do.
This guy is really cool.
Now, from the intro, I got a real Comic Zone vibe. Essentially, his creator fell asleep, so Fido Dido gets to do whatever he wants. Now, what does the snap do? It lets you manipulate time and space. By which I mean open doors and shit.
Okay, that was kind of weird. So that was Fido Dido's creator in that screen?
Uh-huh.
But that was a dude. Fido Dido was created by Sue Rose. That's wild.
Oh my god.
Are they trying to write her out? How dare you?
Hey, Fido Slido. Now, the common theme tonight we're going to be exploring is trying to figure out why these games weren't released. For many, it's pretty obvious. A lot of these games didn't even get started. We're barely in the prototype phase. But this one is almost finished. In fact, I think it may be finishable.
Okay, chat correcting me. I was not paying attention. Chat's like they did think it was a woman in the title screen. So you know what? I may have been wrong. Maybe they did give credit there. But yeah, Fido Dido was created by Sue Rose, who you may remember fondly from creating Pepper Ann, and who you may remember way less fondly for creating... that was awful.
Oh, cool.
For creating Angela Anaconda.
Boo! Alright, B button changes your thing. So you can change it back to Snap and open the door.
Yeah, and...
into a bonus stage.
Ooh.
Ride 'em Cowboy.
Oh yeah, Fido Dido was also created by Joanne Ferrone, too, as a...
Stay on the horse as long as you can to win potatoes.
As Electric Boogaloo mentions. Yeah, and I think I saw Fido Dido at that one leather store because Fido Dido was originally like a novelty t-shirt brand, and yeah.
He's not a good rodeo character. Clearly this is not the gay rodeo. Well, anyway, here's part 2 of the stage where I have to shoot bottles to get potatoes? Is this a gay thing?
It is. Yeah, you know what? This is a gay Texas thing.
All right.
This is what you do if you're gay in the South.
Shoot potatoes, get money.
Mm-hmm.
We're all familiar with that hustle. This is kind of a strange game to just jump into. Maybe if I was more familiar with Fido Dido's over.
He doesn't have one. He's just a brand mascot.
Someone mentioned before the show that he was seen in, like, After These Messages things for Saturday morning cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he plays blackjack, so he teaches kids how to gamble.
Oh, good. Real quick, thank you to Raccoon Violet for the 7th month resub. Raccoon Violet says, gotta love quality games and never saw the light of day. Alhemogambo resubbed for 10 months, and they say Angel Bubsy. Absolutely.
Thank you. I want to play the video game. Lack of cash.
Where'd your cash go?
Oh, that's a 20. I'm holding that.
Okay.
I
You
win.
won! You beat Fido Dido. I can't believe they put blackjack in a kid's game. That fucking... Wow.
Fido don't even care. He's a commercial character.
He really is.
He's designed to promote and to sell. He's a businessman. 18, I'll go for it.
Look, this is a lot of blackjack, though. Like,
Can I exit? I don't want to play this anymore.
no, you gotta keep playing blackjack, honey. You must keep gambling.
What if I lose all my money? He can't make me play blackjack if I don't have any money.
Fido Dido is wearing Fido Dido on his shirt. It isn't a rat, unfortunately.
I'm broke.
You're broke.
He bankrupted me within a couple of minutes of starting the damn game.
All right,
so
time to go.
thanks a lot, Fido.
Fido Slido.
Now, you may be familiar with the concept of the mascot platformer, based on the shows we've done in the recent weeks and months. There's a whole bunch of them in the 90s, and a whole bunch of them didn't make it to market. This is one of them. I believe at the time Fido Dido was a pitchman for 7-Up soda. Mm-hmm. Maybe some other things. I'm really not too familiar with his work.
I just want to say, I am fascinated by the idea of just a freelance pitchman, like a mascot that can go to any brand it wants.
Yeah. Man, imagine if they made a video game about Billy Mays.
That is a generic block?
Yes, it does.
Okay, that's pretty good.
You gotta use all of Billy Mays' gadgets to progress through the levels. You can fall into the coffee cup, at which point Fido drowns. Don't do that.
Good.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Well, he's dead.
Well, he's boiled to death. That is uncool. Electric Boogaloo mentions this game was outsourced to Teeny Weeny Games, a UK developer headed by Angela Sutherland, who merged with Perfect 10 Productions, which used to be Beam Software UK, and then which was headed by Greg Barnett to form Perfect Entertainment. So yeah, so this was Jesus.
Skateboard.
Wow, look at you go.
Oh, extreme.
Okay, so this was a UK developed game.
But he's an American character.
But he was very popular in Europe, so he's just an international sensation.
Look at him, he's sharpening a pencil.
That's cool.
Oh, I have 24 pencils now. Holy shit.
That's a lot of pencils.
I can draw tons of blocks. I guess it's kind of unique that a game would allow you to draw your own platforms. That is something that Comic Zone never quite got. It was just like, you're in a comic book, and now you're karate kicking a whole bunch of bad guys. This, it feels more like an interactive cartoon. At least from my first impressions here.
I'm getting that vibe.
So they tried to do something different. Apparently it didn't succeed. It seems fairly complete as far as I know, so if you want to play through this, you can download this prototype. We're also going to mention the sources of some of these prototypes. These games come from various places, often from Sega themselves. But this one, I believe, back in the day, it was leaked by a BBS group. Because that's how games got distributed back then.
Oh,
through
God.
BBS's news groups, stuff like that.
The Ice Age there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Thank you, Zodaku, for the 19-month resub. Zodaku says, it's been way too long since I've tuned in. Anyway, this game reminds me of the art world levels of the original Rayman.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, it does have that aesthetic. Also, welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this has a soundtrack courtesy of the Gems sound engine, as so many unreleased Sega Genesis games do.
That beautiful farty sound.
We're gonna be hearing so many farts tonight. This platforming is kind of frustrating. You can't see too much ahead of you. It's hard to gauge where these platforms are. Oop. Maybe that's why it went unreleased? Maybe Kaneko was having trouble at the time? That was also what led to the demise of Socks the Cat, I believe. Not the cat, the game.
Okay, Electric Boogaloo's research says that this music is by Matt Furness.
It was either by him or converted by him. They
Okay.
credited Crystalis in the sound conversion credits at the start. Well, I reached bottom. I don't know how to get back up. There's a common problem with prototypes. These games are unfinished or just unpolished, where it's not obvious what to do. And we have dozens of these to go through, so we should probably move on.
We should, but I'm really happy to finally see my man on the big Twitch stage.
Yeah,
so.
we finally got him on. Fido Dido, himself. The pitch man. The Billy Mays of his era, as they called him.
Well, hopefully he'll survive the drive home from our place.
Here's hoping. Thanks, Fido.
Thanks.
Alright, so there's a whole freaking bunch of prototypes, and I figured the least professional way to go through them is alphabetically, so let's do that.
Hell yes!
We're about to dive into the deep end, folks. Fido Dido is normal. The rest of these games, they're less normal.
Baby boom.
Case in point, Baby Boom. You ever heard of this one?
Is this by the,
This is from Sega Technical Institute. The people who made games such as... I forgot. Anyway.
Is this... What the is this like the wisdom, not wisdom tree, but the Color Dreams game?
You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
Let me crank this a little bit.
You like babies?
They're okay.
Well, we have a couple of games about babies. First of these is Baby Boom.
Which...
That should be a baby graphic who knocked over the O. Instead, it's just a pile of glitches. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Now, this game has a story, and oh my god. New Year's Eve 1999. The party of the century begins without you. While they revel, you get rich. Easy money. A cool $1,000,000. Just to watch a couple hundred babies. The best part? They're already being monitored in an automated romper room at the swank womb tomb apartment called The Hive.
Womb tomb?
Womb to tomb. Settle in and watch the party on TV, and at first light, you will be rich. Alright, this sounds good. Clock strikes midnight, and parties erupt all over the city, but remember, it's 1999. Chaos, confusion, noise, lights, sparks, everything is wild with excitement. Everything, that is, except for the computers.
Oh no, the Y2K bug!
The computers are silent and dark. Something has gone wrong. All systems are down. All the doors unlocked. The babies escape. All of them. It seems the Hive computers were not ready for a change in the millennium. That's almost spelled right. By the time the backup systems kick in, the babies have crawled all over the place and they are causing trouble.
Get out of the womb. They've escaped the womb tomb!
Everything the break comes right out of your pocket. If they are not back to their mechanical nannies by the time their folks return, they will not pay you. And you will still have to pay for baby havoc. Babies! Everywhere! Too many to carry. Cajole them, coax them, point them in the right direction, just get them back to their cribs. Easy money? In a pig's eye.
Happy New Year! Wow!
So this is scheduled to be released in 1994. There are multiple prototypes available. This game was developed over most of 94, maybe in 93 as well. And it just never made it out the door because of its strange, unintuitive gameplay. So in each level, there's all these babies wandering around. And if you leave them unattended, they'll eventually start to break things, which comes out of your paycheck. You get away from there, baby!
Oh my god!
And you gotta take them to the baby tube, which is kind of like the fish tube, which was featured on Twitter recently. You put the babies in the tube.
That baby was a little nerd. It had really thick glasses.
Yeah, these babies all have personalities. Some of them just tumble and somersault around.
That baby was a robot? That baby had a glitch
get away
diaper.
from there.
What the hell? Look at that baby. It's got like the two-tone diaper. It's a Scott-loving baby. Hell yeah, pick it up.
These babies are all unique. They did a lot of time on the baby graphics. Keep them away from the walls for some cash. As a bonus stage.
I love that fucking two-tone baby. Yeah.
That baby's got a ska diaper.
Yeah, two-tone. I love it. Hell yeah, God.
Which is appropriate because the object of the game is to pick them up, pick them up, pick them up. So this just shows how bizarre these prototypes can get. Like, Sega was real creative back in the day. They had a whole bunch of projects, a whole bunch of teams working on stuff, and a lot of it, like this, was experimental. Stuff that was unproven, but, you know, maybe it has a market. That's how stuff like Chakan got to the market. And then you have stuff like Baby Boom, which is a Y2K-inspired babysitting simulation.
Thank you, Whoop Von Whoop, who's in resubs 13 months and says, don't shake the baby.
Don't shake the baby. Just put him in the tube. Thump. Easy enough.
I want to address this. Stray Cat says, do you think this got canceled when somebody working on the game just threw their hands up and yelled, what are we fucking doing? That's the thing! It seems like this got canceled. I'm going to assume this got canceled because this is a bonkers idea.
It's a really creative game, if nothing else. Actually implementing the stuff that was in the design, like all the breakable things, I would imagine would be very difficult. Not to mention all the different baby AIs you had to produce. Essentially, this is like Ape Escape. You can think of it that way. Only you're a robot arm.
You're getting these destructive babies. The baby in the baseball cap looks like Fred Durst. Oh my god. Okay, so this is by the same makers as B.O.B., according to Electric Boogaloo. It's by Foley High Tech.
That makes sense.
Let's see, baby's god.
The other major problem I can see is that a lot of the appeal would be like, you know, these babies raising havoc, seeing all the stuff they can break.
Yeah.
That's not something you see during the course of gameplay because you're always going to be zipping around trying to put these babies somewhere. So a lot of your core conceit will go unnoticed by most players. Which is a shame, because if you sit around and watch them actually destroy stuff, it's pretty entertaining. They climb up on shelves, they get into... Oh, this baby! This baby got in the fridge and started going apeshit! That baby's got a knife!
They're tossing knives! No! Oh my god!
See, this is why I like the Sega Genesis. If we had done Super Nintendo prototypes, we wouldn't have seen even one game that's a tenth as crazy as this. This is out of control.
Danny, I love this.
Yeah, it's a shame that this didn't get released. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it back then.
No,
it would have been fun to feature on the stream.
But this is such an interesting idea, you know?
Mm-hmm. I miss this old Sega. Change the diapers. Oh no, I didn't get this far.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man.
Oh my god!
Drop. There we go. We gotta powder the baby. We gotta update the baby. Gotta stamp it for approval. And put on a new diaper. Give it a bottle. Send it on its way. It's ready to enter the job market.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the bottle. Get...
It's fine.
Fine.
Baby's fine.
Take off the diaper. You imprint it. You update it. You install all the firmware updates. As far as I know, this is how babies work. There we go.
Baby's twerking on Twitch.
I did it. That's a happy baby.
Let's see. Baby asks why this was canned. Maybe.
Could be. Also, the idea of child endangerment, that may have had a role in it. The fact that these babies get into knife drawers and start throwing around knives.
Okay, but that's hilarious.
It is something babies do. If you let them.
What? There was apparently a Sega CD and Game Gear version of this in the works? What the hell?
Oh man, Sega CD version of this would have been great.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Okay, so this is difficult, and it looks like it's only going to end when I miss 3 babies. So
Okay,
let's go
well-
ahead and send this naked baby to its
Look at that
doom.
baby dancing.
And this one, I'm just going to let it keep its diaper, because, come on.
Yeah, we're not. No more of that.
Now, what would you say if the very next game was also about babies?
You know what? I'd be okay with that as long as the baby isn't causing havoc. Which, luckily, that doesn't happen in that game, right?
Well, you'll see. Oh, come on, I missed 3 babies. Come on, baby. Groove to the finish line.
Wait. There was a Gamers Day in 1994 by Sega?
Gamers
No.
Day.
Yeah, this game was apparently announced on Sega Gamers Day 1994.
Oh, now the babies have got to the music store. They're gonna destroy the Guitar Center.
Gamers Day, it's real! No!
I'm just gonna let these babies do their thing. Oh, it froze!
Oh no!
Dang. So apparently this game is only playable to an extent.
They're in the bongo store! Oh my god!
Those babies were about to
Sorry.
go apeshit on some bongos. If you want to dive into this game and see how many levels of baby mayhem there are, please do. I'm very curious about this one.
This is amazing.
How did this get so far? I can't imagine a market for this, but I'm really glad they did what they did. That's Baby Boom.
That's amazing. I love Baby Boom.
Next up is Baby's Day Out.
Oh no, I know that baby gets into trouble. No.
Did you see this movie?
I have, many years ago.
This was a mid-90s film that essentially was a 90-minute version of those Tom and Jerry cartoons where they have to protect a baby on a construction site. In fact, I think in one point in the movie they literally go to a construction site and
They
reenact
do.
all those old cartoons. So the baby's been kidnapped by a couple of bungling burglars. They have to get him because he immediately escapes and starts causing havoc. Folks, how many of you saw this movie in the theater? Am I the only one?
It's written by John Hughes?
Check this out.
This movie was, according to Devil Ray, this movie was big in India.
I'm glad it was big somewhere. So you don't control the baby, who is digitized, perhaps rotoscoped, made from clay, something like that. Instead, you control the guardian angel that guides him throughout the movie, but you never actually see. He has to escape each level, and you have to creatively use a whole bunch of items to remove the obstacles from his path. In this case, you get this, which is a key. You open up the door, and then the baby gets to the exit.
Alright, go baby.
Whose portrait is that in the background?
Oh my, I think is that a character from the movie?
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
So yet again, another action puzzler based around the concept of babies being assholes. There were multiple games like this on Sega Genesis. Luckily, as an angel, you can possess things, including living shoes.
I don't like that.
You
I
might
don't like
ask
the way
this.
that looks.
You might ask, why do you need to do this? The angel can fly. Well, the angel can't climb up ladders, can it? That's why you need the shoes. Duh.
In God's infinite wisdom, he made angels not able to climb ladders.
Oh, that baby's going. I think if you put this here, the baby will go up on it. Yeah.
So you...
Oh, I see. It has to be next to the ladder. Let's do this. Yeah, look at him go. So you might consider this as part of the same genre as stuff like The Lost Vikings. It has a better pedigree than many of the games we're going to cover tonight. And again, it's a unique concept, if nothing else.
I will give it that. It is very different to see this baby in all his horrible pre-rendered glory.
Alright, now the baby can escape. Baby okay.
Let's see, I'm seeing this compared to Shit Lemmings.
Oh, well, this baby's gonna die. Get ready to watch this baby die live on camera.
Okay, cool. We're gonna watch a baby die.
He's fine.
Oh, okay. Man, that baby can take a lot of fall damage.
You really can. Alright, baby. Climb down this ladder. I need to go get my boots so I can do the same thing.
This is by Designer Software. Very very designer, but...
And it was going to be published by High Tech Expressions, who made horrible games in the 16-bit era. Honestly, if this had been released, it would have been one of their better games, honestly.
Yeah, this, as much as I'm making fun of it because it's a Baby's Day Out game, this is not, this is much like the other Baby game, this is at least different,
I can only imagine, maybe the movie wasn't as successful as they wanted. Maybe they just didn't figure enough people would want a game about a baby.
Let's see,
But at least 2 different companies, including Sega themselves, thought it was baby time.
Yeah, and this game, actually we've mentioned a couple times, there was an ad for this game on the Baby's Day Out VHS tape, so this was really close to coming out.
Oh, that's a shame. I bet kids were looking forward to that.
To the Baby's Day Out game?
Yeah.
The Baby's Day Out puzzle platformer
What are these?
Okay, those look great! Those look amazing. I'm pretty sure those were also not in the movie.
No! Not at all. I want to say this came out in the same 2-year time span as Stay Tuned and Mom and Dad Save the Universe.
I want to say Baby's Day Out was a few years after that time period, but I also conflate a lot of time periods together, so...
I'm saying that because I saw all those movies in the theater at around the time. I was the one guy who saw Stay Tuned when it was contemporary.
I saw that on VH...
Oh yeah, you can detach your eyes to look around.
No, you can't! Put those back on, Danny.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Orange Wright, for the 12-month resub. Orange Wright says, okay, baby!
Baby, okay. I think that gives the idea of Baby's Day Out. Yep, a pretty unique action platformer, I suppose, since when you get the shoes, you can jump and climb ladders and stuff. Go and help Baby Bink get back to his parents and save him from the construction site with Tom and Jerry.
Can do.
Something like that. Let's move on. We have so many of these games. Barbie Vacation Adventure, never released, but planned for the Sega Genesis.
Where should you go on vacation to?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
Another
Don't go to
high-tech
Austin.
expressions. Don't go to Austin,
You
Barbie.
need to scream at Barbie. Sorry, Barbie.
High-tech just really had a bad time trying to release stuff for Genesis.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into this. All right. Yeah, I like this aesthetic. I like this. Wow. This music.
I like that there's multiple sizes of hearts.
I actually really like that too.
Oh, let's go to Texas.
Yes.
I don't want to go to Iowa. I don't want to go to Iowa.
What's going on in Iowa?
Not Iowans? You better explain this.
Are they just doing whippets in Florida or something?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
All right, let's go to Texas.
We're gonna go back to the rodeo where we belong. Barbie's Texas Vacation. Oh, and of course you get to dress Barbie for the occasion. Oh, you can't change your hair color. That's a shame. That looks good. I'm ready. We're gonna go visit the Alamo, take a walk on the river.
Yeah, this is bad idea. This is she's going to the infamous gay rodeo.
Spoken of by Gex. And essentially, I believe this is a collection of mini-games aimed at the younger set, specifically girls. And it's a Barbie game.
That horse is well animated, I just want to say.
It is. Some poor artist spent many sleepless weeks making that horse
This
animate.
poor artist had to animate a fucking horse.
Most people, you ask them, you couldn't draw a horse. Ever
Horses
try to
are-
draw a horse?
It's hard. It's really hard. That's why, My Little Ponies look so different, because no animator could do that. I mean,
That's right. They're all stubby.
There's literally one animator who, well, there's other animators who can do horses, but there's horse animation is so hard. There's James Baxter is an animator who's mostly famous for being able to actually do it.
So
Oh,
even
it
our
does look like that one. Okay. Ides of Merch mentioned that it looks like it may be traced off the famous Zoetrope, the Muybridge sequence of the horse running that you may have seen.
oh, could be, yeah,
That's what it looks like. Especially, okay,
Maybe it was. Well, Barbie, she's gonna ride horses in Texas. If you want to see whatever Iowa's about, you feel free to go right ahead. And if you want to go do whippets down in Florida, that's your business.
Take that Iowa clown with you. Just call my mare.
Let's move on. Barney was released, unfortunately. Let's see what wasn't released. Beast Ball doesn't sound like it came out.
I've never heard of Beast Ball.
Well, now you have. Beast Ball.
Okay, there better be cool animal people or monsters in this, or else this sucks. I'm just gonna say.
I choose to play an unfriendly match. Get it?
What's with this music?
Now you can play as the Slayers, the Huns, the Punishers, the Savages, the Mad Dogs, the Warlords, the Assassins, the Thugs. Let's be the Thugs.
Okay. Hey, this music sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are old men. These aren't cool monster people. What the fuck?
That's what surprised me when I played this, because the name of the game, you know, you think you'd be controlling beasts. No, you just control ugly, muscled old men, and yet it's called Beast Ball.
What the hell is this?
Oh, that was a nice big spurt of blood there. And essentially, from what I can tell, this is rugby for the muscled elderly gentleman.
Fucking, can I say something?
Go ahead.
No Beast Ball for old men. Thank you.
From what I played, it's pretty easy. You can just run into the goal if you want to. Unless the goalie stops you, which they might. Or throw it in for some points, too.
Is the music stuttery for you, too?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I like that it has a grid at the top of the screen that tells you where everyone is. That's pretty nice. I don't like that this is presented Amiga style, so it uses only like a quarter of the resolution available.
This is apparently a port of an Amiga game called Brutal Football.
Well, that makes perfect sense now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Space Dumpster, for the 6-month resub. Space Dumpster says, Grandpa Football.
Grandpa
That's
Football.
true.
It sure does. Thank you.
Wow. Brutal Grandpa Football.
Now, here's a question for the chat. Does this have anything to do with Brutal Sports Football for the Jaguar? Because I have a feeling it might. If it's not the same game, it looks really similar. That might be a game we have to play someday.
I'm saying yes, yep, yes, same
Oh,
game.
damn, that's a shame. So, one day expect to see us play Brutal Sports Football with weird, muscular, bearded old men. I don't know, are they Vikings? Is that what this is supposed to be?
I'm assuming they're Vikings or, like, Middle-earth, like, warrior dwarfs or something.
One of my dudes has a mechanical arm. So, like, maybe you can graft him, cybernetics to these characters or something? One of them has a shield. There was a turtle on the field. There's no rules here. No law. Well, what a shame.
Look at all the holes in the ground.
Bad upkeep.
Oh, damn.
They don't have the budget to maintain the field. All their budget went to marketing tie-ins, getting that Fido Dido
I was gonna say they got Fido Dido to be there.
You can pass, you can run, all the things you want from a football rugby game.
Okay, there's supposed to be lizards, goats, and rhinos. I'm not seeing any of those.
I don't see a single fucking thing. I saw a turtle on the field. That was cool. So it may be the case that they did want to implement beasts at some point, but they just never got around to it because, again, this is a prototype. Still, it looks neat. It plays okay. And it might have been a good video game to complement such games as Mutant League Football, which were pretty popular back in the day. As it is just a curiosity.
Yeah. Goodbye, buff old men. I love you.
Beyond Zero Tolerance is an unreleased sequel to Zero Tolerance, an unlicensed Sega Genesis game that was a first-person shooter. This one takes a more organic look. I've never actually seen this one.
Okay.
Or Jim's driver bangers here. Mission time.
I like the art. I kind of like this art.
Now, the first game, I remember having more of a sci-fi bent to it, which makes this organic look kind of strange.
Is that the Visual Concepts logo?
Oh yeah, it is.
Is that
They
what it
had the
looks
upside
like,
down
right?
triangle. It totally looks like that.
Yeah, with the circles and shit.
Now, I want to say this game is either complete or close to it. The developers really wanted to release the sequel to this, but unfortunately it never came to be.
Ah, damn.
Zero Tolerance, I think, is one of the few games that actually supported linked console play. You could plug a special cord into the second controller port and link it to a second Genesis.
Whoop, yes, this is a Zero Tolerance sequel.
Oh, this is a 6-button game, isn't it? All my buttons aren't doing the right things. There we go. I'm just kind of spinning around on the floor. And getting shot to shit.
Good.
But if you've seen the first game, this looks a hell of a lot like that, because it's built off the same code and stuff. They just wanted to improve a few things. I like the auto map. I'm pretty sure that was in the original game as well.
That's wild.
And on Genesis, you really didn't have many choices when it came to first-person shooters. Unless you were in Brazil, at which point you could get Duke Nukem 3D for some reason.
Electrical Who mentions this was developed by Technopop, who released the proto.
Oh yeah, the developers themselves released that, so that's another source. Like, it can either come from news groups, or just hobbyists like me searching down prototypes, or occasionally, if the developers are really proud of their work, and it's legally safe to do so, they'll release it themselves.
Which rules, by the way. I love when developers do that. Thank you.
Again, a lot of ground to cover, so let's move on.
Okay.
We're just in the B's.
Oh, no.
Bill's Tomato Game.
Cool.
This was actually released on the Amiga under the title Bill's Tomato Game. They never thought of a better title for it.
I mean, if it works, you know?
Yeah. It's catchy, I guess. It was going to be released by Psygnosis, who also had a couple of other unreleased games under their belt. We'll be seeing them again.
That is so Amiga. I love
That is
it.
so demo scene, that little thing that just played out.
Okay.
It's a normal day at the Acme Tomato Farm. A man dies from carbon monoxide poisoning, and the tomatoes are sad.
Oh, they're mourning.
Now this music's actually pretty good. No, don't do it! Oh, God.
Wait! I just looked at that tree. Holy shit!
That's right, a flying squirrel took away your tomato girlfriend, and you have to get her back in Bill's Tomato Game. I feel like I've lost my mind describing some of these games.
Oh, this is also a Matt Furnace joint? Wow. Okay.
So you start out in a platformer, but don't be deceived, the game is nothing like this. This is just a hub world that
Please
plays...
escape that fucking tree.
This is a hub world that plays completely differently from the rest of the game for no real reason. So let's get into the actual game. The actual game is The Incredible Machine, but with tomatoes. Yeah, you launch your tomato to figure out what to do, and then when you think you have a solution, you use the pieces in your inventory to lay down something that may help your tomato buddies. There we go.
Hooray.
Again, another incredibly unique concept that they tried to bring to Genesis, and it just never made it to market. That's what I'm noticing about a lot of these games. Like, usually, unreleased games are just, like, really shitty licensed games, or platformers that had no reason to exist, but these games are very unique. They have gameplay I can't really compare to anything else. Alright, I think this is a bouncy sort of platform, so we'll put that here. Oops. Maybe a little further up.
Yeah.
I think the Genesis could have used a game like this. There we
Nice. Well, he died.
He
But
died.
he came back. So it's
Your tomatoes will die several deaths trying to finish these puzzles.
These poor animals just want to be left alone.
It's a real neat game, and one I had no idea existed up until this prototype was made. And it makes me sad to know that this didn't make it to market while so much bullshit actually did. Yeah,
Hey, there you go.
it ain't so hard being a tomato. Oh, boss time. Done.
I'm glad you didn't get ground up in a horrible slurry of tomato.
Maybe that's why they wanted this game out, because when he dies, it looks like blood.
Ugh. Yeah, it is a little gruesome.
Kids wanted blood back then. They were bloodthirsty. Yeah. I like at least how at the beginning all the solutions are really simple, so it has good pacing. It really lets you get into the game and figure it out very quickly.
Okay. Yeah, it's a fair point, Electric Boogaloo. It may have been, the reason it may have been canceled was because of Sony and Psygnosis, because since Psygnosis was releasing it, and Sony was kind of like, eh.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they were starting to get that deal with Sony. Can't have them doing work for the enemy. But, damn it, out of all the games we're going to play tonight, I think this may be one of my favorites. It's actually good. It's very well polished. They did a lot to bring it to Genesis and make it play pretty well. And again, with so few games like this on Genesis, it could have used it. What about, like, right here? Oops. There we go.
Nice, you just slipped right through.
Bill's Tomato Game. Pretty cool. Check it out, why not?
That was pretty cool.
I think we've reached the end of the bees.
Hooray! Oh my god, I just checked the time. We gotta go.
Yeah, I know. Chaos Engine 2 was actually set to be released for Mega Drive and Genesis. The first game was released here in the States as Soldiers of Fortune. This is more famous as an Amiga game.
So much Amiga shit on the Genesis.
Yeah, it was really well suited to it too, and it's a shame that so much of it didn't make it out the door. Now this one's kind of unique because it has a two-player split-screen mode. I think the first game you had to be on the same screen. And I think this prototype requires 2 players, and I don't have a controller plugged in. That and the levels are kind of barren. They kind of haven't implemented enemies yet, I guess. But you can at least get a good idea of what the game would have looked like. An overhead view co-op shooter would have been pretty cool to play on Genesis. But again, not to be. And I'm out of ammo.
This looks really good.
Yeah. Moving on, what do we got? We got Congo.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Still haven't seen that.
Oh, game over already? Shit. I suck at this game.
What the hell? Okay, the visual concept. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing these people a couple times.
Cool.
Now, last time we featured good old Congo on the stream, it was with the Sega Saturn game, which was entirely original, unique to the system, never ported. This Congo game, I think, is in a similar boat. Pun intended. I think it's at the point where they haven't implemented sound yet, so that's kind of unfortunate. But this would have been a game where it has multiple playstyles, shooting scenes, boat scenes, running scenes, all your favorite scenes. Can I skip this level, please? Usually these games have debug modes programmed in somehow. Well, that's a game over.
I thought this game had more to it.
I think it does, but I have to be able to get to it is the problem.
Okay.
Still, digitized graphics, game about psycho monkeys or something. I've never seen the movie.
The monkey can talk, I think. I don't fucking know. I still haven't seen it.
Well, you need to get around to it.
Well, you say that, but...
This is gaming history we're talking about here.
True,
we gotta watch
true.
Congo. We gotta watch Waterworld. We gotta watch Toys with Robin Williams. Because that got released. The games based on Toys with Robin Williams got released, but somehow Congo didn't.
I saw that in the theater as a child, and I was very unsettled.
I did too. That was the period of time when my mom would take us to see very inappropriate movies, thinking they were kids' movies.
Well, I mean, it's Toys. Come on. Like, it was... The thing is, Toys was marketed towards kids.
Yeah, let me be clear. I don't blame my mom. She was just following what the marketing said. And at the time, kids' movies meant Toys and Mom and Dad Save the World. Universe? Which one was that?
Oh, I think it was World?
I wish I could get for it. I scrolled off the screen. That's Congo. One of many, many, many licensed video games that never got a commercial release. Let us mourn. alongside Mr. Peanut. Curse, this is a US prototype, but it's functionally the same as the Japanese one, so it's outside the purview of this stream so far. Okay. Again, if we have time at the end of the stream, I'd like to showcase some betas. Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat.
Ooh.
Get out your BBH emotes. Mm-hmm. Danny S is in the house.
BBH is already spammed him, thank you.
That's the helmet I'm wearing right now. It says Danny.
I like that you're wearing a helmet with your name with a word on it, a la Heathcliff.
Yeah, so you know who I am.
Mm-hmm. Wow! Hold on.
Actual photo of me. I don't have teeth, I just have one giant tooth mass, which I use to crush my food.
Good, honestly.
This is a port of an arcade game. It's the sequel to Super Off-Road. Not as well known as Super Off-Road, which was a game that was very often seen in arcades. But as an option, you could upgrade it to Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat, which was more of a Indy 500 style racer.
That is such a toothy grin. Yeah, it's Muppet teeth.
It is. My name is... Fuck it. BBH. There we go. That's what BBH looks like. Now, like Super Off-Road, you can upgrade all your stuff. You can buy turbos, brakes, tires, your engine, or you can let Danny buy the best stuff for you.
Danny buys the best stuff!
Danny just bought me 3 engines and told me to go race.
Do you? Okay, you know what? I trust
Look, Danny buys the best stuff.
Okay, he does.
You can't deny it. This is, of course, the BBH special, if you're familiar with this game. This game, if you try to one-credit clear it, you'll find out it's literally impossible, because Danny Sullivan loses his goddamn mind after about 3 races and just destroys your car and laps you like 3 times. Also, I think there's something wrong with my car. Oh, I'm out of fuel. That's a big thing. I gotta pit in. Also, my car's on fire? That's probably bad.
You want to fix that.
There we go, we're good.
Water. Okay. Magmoram says, I let Danny buy the best stuff and he told me to buy a sub. Thank you for the resub.
Thank you. Danny does buy the best stuff.
20 months, wow. The car okay.
And as far as I can tell, this is a fully fledged port that was entirely complete. They just never ended up putting it on cartridge. I think I died. Or Danny won. Same thing. Yep, there's Danny Sullivan in first place. I got 3rd. That's alright.
He's side-eyeing you like, look at what I can do. I can win.
Yeah.
You were going 199 miles per hour, though.
Didn't feel like it.
Oh, he was... I'm sorry, you were going 140. Jesus, though.
I was staying in the speed limit. We got $85,000. Let's put it on Danny. He bought me an engine and some turbos. You know, Danny, there's other upgrades.
No,
you could buy me acceleration or tires. Otherwise, if you're familiar with Super Off-Road, this plays a whole lot like it. Including, probably, the fact that the AI will destroy you after a few races.
Yeah, exactly, BBH. You always gotta let your competitors do your financial planning.
Yeah. Danny has my best interests in mind. I'm not worried. Danny just wrecked the shit out of my car. That's fine. As they say in Danny Sport, rubbin's racing.
It is what they say. That's why I've been banned from many a racetrack.
All that rubbin'. Just drag you out and you scream, "Rubbin's racing!
There's like,
Rubbin's
please,
racing!"
sir!
I'm out of fuel and on fire.
And you've only got like 5 laps of a 10-lap race done.
Thanks, Danny. You picked the best stuff. Yeah, this doesn't control all that well, which isn't surprising. Frankly, I'm surprised there's not a billion ports of Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat, considering Super Off-Road was on every system at the time. Super Nintendo, Genesis, NES, Game Gear. I think there was a Game Boy version.
Yeah, Teeter, out of fuel and on fire is a big 2020 mood, Jesus.
Yeah, but still making it, still dragging myself across the course. Oh wait, is this a 10-lap race? That guy pushed me off my freaking jacks! I didn't get refueled! He pulled a Danny Sullivan on me! And it wasn't even Danny Sullivan!
Just please, God!
I'm in bad shape. I'm gonna move on after this race, but that's Danny Sullivan's Indy Heat. Don't trust Danny. Danny does not have your best interests in mind. He'll buy you 3 engines and tell you good luck.
DBH is mentioning that Danny Sullivan is more aggressive in this version, and also that race usually has 5 laps instead of 10, so...
Wow. This game's brutal, then. I do like that photo of Danny Sullivan down there, though.
Me too.
He buys the best stuff. Come on, Danny, buy me 1 more engine. He did.
What are you going to do with all these fucking engines?
Let's burn rubber with Danny Sullivan. Thanks, Danny. Moving on. What's our next unreleased game here? What the hell is Dominus? You ever heard of this?
That sounds like something you'd hear in like one of those Gregorian monk chants from the 90s.
Dominus.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, that's the Sephiroth song.
Close enough. Alright,
Dominus is
good.
not working. This may, in fact, be a PAL game, and I should have mentioned this earlier, we're using original hardware.
Oh, okay.
So some incompatibilities are going to crop up.
I don't know why I was surprised by you using original hardware. I'm staring at it right now.
Oh, wow. Dino Blaze!
Okay, alright.
Y'all want to fix the... There we go. Palette's fixed.
Yes, Whiskey Tanker, we're actually the retro NTSCs.
Oh, Dino.
Alright. What's that music?
Do that have vocals?
Maybe, hold on, you adjust the thing here. Wait, it cuts off New York, so it's Ew York. I like these dinos.
I'm making them dance. Oh, the Dracos did some graffiti down there. You got all this?
Mm-hmm. You
Let's
gotta...
go. So are we Wayne? Anki?
Hey,
Sid?
These are amazingly animated
Bronny?
dinosaurs.
Yeah,
wow.
Look at this animation. Almost looks like it was scanned in from animation cells.
Yes, this is great. Wow, Alex is... Okay, you gotta hurry before the screen fills with garbage.
Oh yeah, let's start a game. Now, for whatever reason, way back when, there were multiple concerted attempts to bring about the idea of dinosaur street hockey. I know that sounds really specific, but there are unreleased dino hockey games on Genesis and NES, possibly other systems. There was just one company out there who really, really, really wanted dinosaurs to come into the present and play street hockey. And here you get to practice.
I love the water cooler and the broken, Are those humans?
I think so. Unfortunately, this game is in a very early state, so you can't really play a full game of street hockey, but this is what it would look like. Oh, I got to another level.
Okay, this is by Bonsai Entertainment, who are the developers of Barbie Supermodel on Genesis and the Game Boy versions of Casper and Maui Mallard, if I can talk today.
Wow. Between this and Barbie, they didn't have much luck on Genesis.
Look, he has one animation as he moves.
Oh!
Oh, and he changed to someone else.
I slapped him so hard he turned into another dino.
I do like that one dino that whose ass you're kicking.
These are good animations.
They really are. Who did this? I mean, I know the developer, but who animated this?
Uncle Fred's nuts!
Uncle Fred's nuts! Roller idiots, that's me!
You're the roller.
RP Cola! RP Cola!
RP Cola!
Wow,
I like this game.
Wow, this game's good again. Okay.
This is the best game we played all day.
Oh, I wish we played Uncle Fred's... I wish we saw Uncle Fred's nuts last year. So I could have put that in the compilation.
Uncle Fred's nuts. It would have fit right in with Uncle Furries from True Lies. Well, this is cool. It's barely a game at this point. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone released their dream fully fledged dino hockey game. Excuse me, dino street hockey game. Just was not to be. I forget what the NES one is called. Probably like Dino Hockey.
Yeah, it's Dino Hockey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's literally the name of it. Still, cool animation. Maybe someone can do something with these dinos someday.
Yeah, I am getting a Don Bluth vibe from them, too. I don't think he animated them, but man.
It's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ernest Evans. This is outside the scope of this stream, but let's very quickly show this.
Okay.
I think we may have featured this before, but what the hell. So, some of these prototypes and betas came from official Sega CDRs that were archived in the mid-90s. Supposedly, these were to archive ROMs to eventually put on the Sega channel. What ended up happening is whoever did this ended up putting a bunch of unfinished and unreleased games on those CDRs, so when they were obtained by Hidden Palace and DRX, they released them all. This one's neat, because this has a whole intro that explains a completely different story that's not in the actual game. Usually the game opens with Ernest Evans sitting on a boat in the middle of a river. But here they tell you the full story, which was cut from the US version, including talk of the Necronomicon, Calvin Coolidge, all that stuff. Oh yeah, this game implicates former US President Calvin Coolidge in owning the Necronomicon.
Honestly, I can see it. Yes, this is the game with the man that wiggles. Absolutely.
Yes. Unfortunately, the actual game is completely identical to the released version, except for the opening and ending. I think what they did is they changed the story. Yeah, there he is, Coolidge, the President of the United States. They changed the story because they didn't think Americans would understand the concept of a prequel, because this came out after El Viento. What they had to do is rewrite the story in the manual for Ernest Evans to be like, oh, this takes place afterward, and the El Viento you see is actually her daughter, or something like that. Or maybe they made it so that Annette was supposed to be 80 years old or something.
Okay, thank you, the Ultimo, for some more info here about the release of this game. One of my friends at Sega gave those CDRs to DRX, and it was the QA department in certifying.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, it was from the QA. That's
well,
cool.
Let me tell you, they did an excellent job, because whether intentional or unintentional, they ended up capturing a lot of history, which would have been lost if not for them burning those CDRs. So good for them. If you look at Sega Genesis prototypes lists, there are dozens, hundreds of games. Many games have multiple different prototypes. Those often came from those CDRs.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this game almost had a story about Calvin Coolidge leveraging the power of the Necronomicon to be elected president. But unfortunately, they cut it to make something way less interesting.
Boo.
At least the game's cool. That's right, I like Ernest Evans. Deal with it. It's a good game, damn it. Even the graphics in this intro are exclusive. That little animation there, just lost forever. Good old Ernest.
Good old Ernest.
And the game is the same wiggly Muppet Man that you know and love.
I love him!
Do a roll, Ernest. There you go. Tumble into that corner. Alright, moving on. We did Fido Dido. We know what he's all about. Flashpoint. This one is pretty interesting. This is one game that was officially released by Sega on one of their compilations. This game was totally unknown, its existence, until it appeared on the Sega Tetris Complete Collection for PlayStation 2, which was part of their Sega Ages line. It was just included as an alternate game, and if you looked on the disc, it was just a ROM file, so you can put it on a flash card and use it with an actual Genesis.
That's wild. So, what is this? It's a puzzle game, yeah?
Yeah, it's a variant of Tetris, where you have to solve these levels. It's not very exciting. This is based on an arcade game. Sega, of course, produced an arcade Tetris, and they also produced an arcade Flashpoint, which uses the Tetris Tetrids, but the gameplay is very different. Instead of making lines, you have to clear specific lines on each level.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
So you can play it kind of differently from what Tetris usually is. Oh, that background's from Fantasy Zone.
Oh, that's cute. Later you reuse assets.
And like many of these games, this seems pretty complete, ready for retail, just never made it. Though Sega's pretty good about exploring their archives for stuff that was never released, and if they find a use for it, they'll pull it right back out and put it on the market.
Hey, don't waste that, don't waste that ROM space.
Yeah, if you got it, use it.
Mm-hmm.
Shake your moneymaker, as they say. Now, this is much better than the port of Tetris that actually did get released for Mega Drive. Released, in quotes, because that game exists as a single-digit number of cartridges. Well, this one just never got released at all.
See, Spartanberry says that it was maybe unreleased because Sega only had a license to make Tetris for arcade use? That sound?
That could be, yeah.
That actually sounds pretty, knowing how fucking...
The Tetris rights back then were divided up between home computers, consoles, and arcade, and people dealing with Alexei Pajitnov and the Russian government at the time often confused the three.
Yeah, all I know is it's very confusing who owns the rights to do what.
And they hadn't specifically said what a console is. They were just licensing it based on computer systems with a screen and keyboard. And so when Nintendo stepped in, they had some kind of legal finagling, which gave them the rights. Still, it's a neat variant. I like it.
It's neat.
It's a little bit similar to the Neo Geo game Joy Joy Kid, if you're familiar with that. That's also not a very good game. Also very unusual that this kind of game would come to light in an officially commercially released product. That usually doesn't happen.
The Ultimate also clarifies, the CDs were daily burns coming in for certification and QA. Sega back in the day had QA try as hard as possible to break it and test for Sega seal of quality issues before they let them manufacture carts. It's also why you don't see EA Protos as much because they did their own certification.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very super interesting, thank you.
Yeah, I do see EA Protos sometimes. I think there's a couple on eBay right now, actually. But yeah, definitely much rarer than actual Sega stuff.
I'm also seeing this compared to Flash columns.
Yeah, that uses the same concept, actually. I think the Flash variant is a Sega thing. I should probably move on, but I'm enjoying this more than I thought I would.
That's neat, yeah.
That and the Fantasy Zone backgrounds are just a cool little detail. So yeah, check this out, either officially or in a ROM file released by Sega themselves. Thank you, Sega.
Thank you, Sega. QA testers.
Fun Car Rally? I don't know what this is. Seems fun. It's 8 o'clock and we're in the Fs!
I'm telling you, we gotta go!
Fuck's sake!
That's why I was like, yeah.
I'm just sitting here enjoying Tetris and... Oh, here we go.
So, this is a fun car rally.
Okay, here's a question for the chat. What are funny cars? Because, like, whenever Bigfoot came to town, they were all like, oh, go see Bigfoot and funny car racing. And I always wondered as a kid, what the hell's a funny car? Is this something I've asked on stream before? It feels like
I don't know. Okay, I'm seeing that funny cars are blombies.
They're Blomby cars, that's what they are. Oh.
Okay, funny cars have those weird big boxes on top, like huge spoilers. Oh my god, a lot of people are talking about this.
I see, so it's a class of car.
Yeah, funny cars burn nitro.
Cool.
So yeah, they're a kind of drag racing vehicle.
Alright, so they'd be a legit thing you'd come out to see, in addition to Bigfoot.
Okay, so it's like, yeah, so it's just like souped up drag racing cars. Okay, that's cool.
In terms of gameplay, this seems most like the Neo Drift Out series, only a little bit faster, and it doesn't tell you what the turns are. That makes it a little difficult. But if this came out, it could have competed with Danny Sullivan. Danny buys the best stuff. I don't think he would have bought this game, though.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's alright. Time out.
Time out.
That's a really strict time limit. Fun Car Rally. Not as fun as advertised. We gotta go. We gotta get through these games and quick. It Came from the Desert. Something we showed briefly during our It Came from the Desert stream, but this is an unreleased EA game.
Okay, so that game, Fun Car Rally, was eventually released as Combat Cars. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that just must have been very different.
Very cool scrolling there.
Yeah, that's neat. Now, the TurboGrafx game of this...
Ugh.
Quit flashing. Come on, game.
Okay.
The TurboGrafx game of this was more of an FMV-driven adventure game, while this game is this. It's a really bad overhead view action game. Now, supposedly this is complete, which I really doubt considering you can beat the game in 15 minutes. It's a very short game. But that's apparently what they wanted to make. And for what it is, it's fully fledged from beginning to end. You can play all the way through it, all 15 to 20 minutes of it. I wouldn't recommend it, though. It's not very fun. They were right to not release this one. Oh, there's those killer ants.
God.
So it has that, at least.
Let's turn that down a little bit. It's a little loud.
Boy, I love that EA sound engine. It's purring like a kitten.
Yeah, I actually just removed my headphones. I was like, no thank you. I'm cheating.
The game's actually very frustrating. I wouldn't recommend learning how to play it. I tried to learn how to play it for that one It Came from the Desert stream, and after several minutes I decided it wasn't worth it. Oh yeah, Dad's an ant. He killed us.
No.
That's the end. The Itchy and Scratchy game is something that actually existed, but was never released. Okay.
Be right back. I just gotta get something, folks. Everybody be normal.
Yeah, everyone be nice while Alex is gone. Say good things about me. This is from Bits Entertainment, the people who brought you Mary Shelley's Frankenstein for the Super Nintendo and Genesis. Not the Sega CD one. That is a different game. They also did No Escape, which is a game no one has ever heard of. And they were about to do a damn Itchy and Scratchy game. Check that out.
I like the animation.
Good title cards, too.
That's great. Oh, look at this! It's like a normal game. I thought it was going to be like that Krusty's Funhouse or whatever thing. This is interesting.
Yeah, so the thing is, the game that was released about Itchy and Scratchy is a weird mini-golf hybrid that was either on Game Gear or Game Boy. One of those. This game is more of a straightforward platformer where you're constantly being hunted by Scratchy.
You have to rank... No, this was unreleased. We don't have to rank this.
Yeah,
okay.
never released. We don't have to rank it. We don't have to rank Fido Dido either.
Oh, man. I like this aesthetic.
It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It actually looks better than many of the other Bits games.
This came out on SNES?
Oh, did it really? Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Alright, so there's a mini-golf version and also a platformer that got released for Super Nintendo. This is a Genesis port, and unfortunately never made it out. So Genesis kids missed out on Itchy and Scratchy. It's not that great.
Oh, you're on fire.
The music is a parody of the Flintstones.
It is! Oh my god!
You can hear it, right? Yeah. Wait, I was just here. Why? That's Itchy and Scratchy. I don't have time to figure out these games.
No, you gotta move on.
We have time for Jelly Boy, though.
Oh no, Jelly Boy was released on SNES, huh? Not Genesis.
Oh, that too. Well, here's another port that was unreleased. Jelly Boy. Don't get this confused with Jerry Boy. He's very different. You see, this Jerry Boy...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Do
Thank
what?
God, you can't figure out how to do it.
No, leave me... Okay, here comes Jelly. Here goes Jelly. Now, Jelly Boy's power is to shoot a fist from his stomach.
Stop that! Stop that! I hate... Oh, God. God, please, no.
Now, moral Sega Genesis owners saw this and were horrified. They were all like, we don't want this trash on our system. Save that for Super Nintendo. And that's what they did. So, good work, Super Nintendo. You got your goddamn deviant Jelly Boy game with the fist coming out of his stomach.
Oh man, there's apparently a bootleg SNES version of Jelly Boy that's called Flubber, and Jelly Boy's all green and shit. He still does a horrible fist thing.
That's a really good idea. This would totally turn into a flubber game.
God, he's nasty.
Props to those guys.
Oh,
I don't want to have to think about Jelly Boy anymore.
Please, no.
How about Jesse the Body Ventura Wrestling?
What?
Now,
Okay.
this is another game that came off those official Sega CDRs. Alex marking out over here.
I am. I'm just tossing shit everywhere. Thank you, Seymour Hirsch, for the 7-month resub. Do appreciate that. Thank you, Jesse the Body Ventura, for your wrestling superstars. And thank you, DreamWorks, for making Shrek.
Thank you all. Now, this would have been released by DreamWorks, the people who published Target Earth and Shove It and other games here in the States. This is a localization of Thunder Pro Wrestling, so this is part of the Fire Pro series.
Oh, that would explain why it's by a human. Okay.
So who are these characters trying to be, Alex? Of course we have Jesse, but...
I can't tell because they're... One of them look like Thunder Liger, but...
Is that Jerry the King Lawler?
I guess, but he's got other marks you can tell. Okay, I can figure out. Stan, I think, is Stan Hansen. I don't know who Jones is. Flame is Big Van Vader, I think. And Death, I'm pretty sure, is Thunder Liger. Flame is Vader, okay.
We're gonna go with Jesse.
Okay.
May not surprise you to learn this, but this is a pretty standard wrestling game. A whole lot like the Fire Pro game on PC Engine, actually. This is still back when Human just started the series.
Alright, we have some, let's see. People say Rockin' might be Muta, Inoki, or Ricky
Whoa.
Steamboat.
I suplexed him out of the ring. Yeah, this seems alright. Kind of a shame this didn't get released. It is by Human, who typically know their wrestling games.
Mm-hmm.
And considering the competition at the time, they would have cleaned up. Sega had their own wrestling game, Wrestle War, which also didn't get released in the States, though it did get out in Europe. He's dead. I've killed him. Next
Murdered.
game. So many to get through. Jim Power, the arcade game, was going to come to Sega Genesis, until it didn't.
What the hell is Jim Power, the arcade game?
It's an Amiga game that did get a Super Nintendo release.
Did it get an arcade release?
No.
Fucking liars.
Right now, as I speak, there is a Kickstarter underway for an official release for this game, so if that's something you want, go give Pico Interactive some money, because they got the rights to it. They gave the full story in their Kickstarter thing, which was kind of an interesting thing. Apparently they'd been wanting the Jim Power license for some time, and had been in talks with the creator, but at one point the talks just stopped. He stopped replying, and they kind of had to put it on the back burner. They were contacted several months back with the information that the creator had in fact died.
Oh, Jesus.
And they got the rights from his estate. And that's how Jim Power is getting new life in 2020.
God, I'm glad they got rights, but man, that's...
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
This game's most famous for its nauseating backgrounds, which actually look okay here. On Super Nintendo, they look terrible.
Oh, it's already on Steam, so...
Oh yeah, the Steam release happened. They're funding a Genesis release as well as an NES port. NES port actually looks pretty good, believe it or not. Oh, I don't have the key for this. I gotta
move on.
I gotta book
You
it.
no time to get the key.
I got some turbo. I gotta use those nitros that Danny Sullivan bought for me.
Sumo in the last game was Ricky Choshu? Okay, makes sense.
Lobo.
Lobo?
There is gonna be a Lobo
You fucking kidding me?
fighting game for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Really?
Yeah! Yeah! You know, I hear that Lobo is a real fraggin' bastich. Am I right?
Christ.
So you can play as any of these characters. Actually, in one-player mode, you have to do like a tournament-style thing. We got any Lobo fans out here?
Yeah, who loves Lobo? Who's a big Lobo head? Who has a Lobo tattoo?
I think Lobo was like prototype Deadpool. Am I right?
Yeah, actually, no, he was definitely like a Deadpool-esque character. But he was Lobo.
So, as was the style at the time, this is a pre-rendered digitized fighting game. It does use 6 buttons, so that's kind of neat. The gameplay sucks. That's why it wasn't released. This got very bad reviews in GamePro and EGM, I think. So even though they spent all this money on making these CG characters, it had to go to waste.
Well, Lobo was apparently on the Superman the Animated Series, so...
Okay, so he would have been slightly relevant.
Yeah, Lobo was... Yeah, I remember Lobo, like, being a parody character of, like, those over-the-top, muscular, kind of Rob Liefeld-esque characters. And
yeah.
He just kind of, you know...
This does supposedly have special moves, but I can't figure out what they are. Compared to other fighters of the era, this is bad. This would have been better than Rise of the Robots, I guess, but considering there were so many fighters out at the time, this wouldn't have made any kind of impact. Now luckily, this Genesis version and the Super Nintendo prototype have both been found and preserved, so we can at least enjoy what would have been. Poor Lobo.
Yeah, this is...
He never got a game.
So how does this play? Is this more like Rise of the Robots, more like Shaq Fu?
It's kind of Street Fighter-ish. They did the 6-button input. Some of the moves are similar, I think. But really, it just screams generic fighter. And Batman Forever had the market cornered on shitty CG graphics at the time. Stop blocking. Let Lobo kick your ass. Yeah! I like his yeah. That's the one thing I like about this game.
Yeah, seems like it's sampled from somewhere.
Yeah.
What is with her stance? Is she drunk? Look at that. She's like fighting someone taller than her. It's like, nyeh, nyeh.
It's like someone had lifted her up by her hair and she's just like, let me go, let me go.
Alright, that's a cool diner, but we should probably move on.
Always open.
Mm-hmm.
What did I tell you? So many of these games. So freaking many. Even Mr. Nuts.
Mr. Nuts. Mr. Nuts. Can't believe this is going to be on Genesis.
Yeah, this is one we actually covered recently as part of Mascot Friday. We did the Amiga version. It's gonna punch you right in the face.
Ow. I need
Name,
my face.
Nuts. Now, let's see if they implemented that weird overworld sequence from the Amiga. That's what I'm curious about. Oh, yeah, sure did.
Oh, this weird thing!
Yeah, where you have to navigate this little world before it lets you play.
Yeah, okay, we played this on Mascot Friday before, which if you haven't seen our Mascot Friday show, you should see it. Thank you.
In fact, from what I remember, this actually takes a while.
It does, yeah.
I want to get to a game. Let's see if I can speedrun this. Just let me get to a level, please. Here? No?
No, you gotta blow that up and then go up, I think, another thing. There you go, there's
Okay, here we go. Speedrunning time. And the game would have looked a whole lot like the Amiga version, actually. Very fast, very fluid, very colorful, even. And you still die in one hit.
God, he's so fast.
Everyone wanted to be Sonic back then. Even the squirrels. That's the end of the level.
God, okay.
Again, we covered this in greater depth on Mascot Friday, so please consult that episode if you want more Mr. Nuts content.
Alright, what's next?
Ninja Gaiden.
The hell?
They were going to release a Ninja Gaiden game on Sega Genesis, and it looks nothing like you probably think it will.
Okay.
Oh, right in the nuts.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, here come the guitars. Yeah, right in the Mr. Nuts. This game was licensed from Tecmo, but not made by them. This was in fact an internal Sega of Japan project. And it looked pretty complete from what I've seen. Let's go ahead and have a look at it. Yep,
wow,
reprogrammed by Sega. He's buff.
He's handsome.
Now, who out there is familiar with the Ninja Gaiden arcade game? That's a game that came out before the NES one, and like many games at the time, was a totally different game from what was ported. You seen this guy? Goes by Ken. Says he's from Street Fighter. He stole my shooting star.
Oh man, very rude.
He's at Deboxin Gym, spelled J-I-M. Oh, Ryu's nice. He leaves a tip for the bartender.
Okay, looks like some folks in chat have definitely played the arcade version, so...
Yeah, if you're familiar with that, this is basically that. Sega took the arcade formula and expanded on it for Sega Genesis.
Oh, that is interesting. So this was actually outsourced by Sega to developer Opus.
Oh, this is an Opus joint. Yeah, Sega frequently collaborated with them. Kind of a lower tier developer, but they get the job done. Now this controls strangely, because right now I'm pushing right, and that makes him go down and right. If you push left, he goes down and left. And like the arcade game, this is much more of a beat 'em up.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. It's a shame.
Might have been why they canceled it, just might not have been what people were expecting from Ninja Gaiden, circa 1992. Some freaking hot jams here.
Mm-hmm.
I just like how many of these prototypes we've discovered have come from Sega themselves. Like, you don't see too many first-party Nintendo protos, but there's a whole bunch of Sega Genesis ones. Mostly because Sega had a whole bunch of divisions around the world, each doing their own thing. In Japan, they were doing this. In the US, they were doing Baby Boom. Looking for the brute? Oh, you got the wrong place. The leather bar's down the street.
Fuck you. Another man.
I think this could have been something. This doesn't control great, but with some polish, this could have been pretty fun. And it's a shame that this was basically, I don't think, even ever announced. This just showed up on the news groups one day.
It's like, hey, we found this. Yeah, Arnold Rimmer mentioned for a while in the scene that this was actually considered a released game in Japan, and people weren't actually aware it was a prototype for quite some time.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, where the ROM releasers just assume it got a release. On Super Nintendo, a similar thing happened with The Shadow and Bobby's World. Bobby's World never got released, sorry.
Damn.
I've had enough, kid. I got no beef with you.
Go to Niagara Falls.
And so Ryu went on the vacation. Congratulations, Ryu. Next up, Prince of Persia 2 is going to come to Genesis. I don't think this even came to... No, wait, it was released for Super Nintendo.
Oh, it's them. That damn owl.
Yet another unreleased Psygnosis game.
Prog Rock Owl coming to fight us. Microids with the amulet over the eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here's some hot jams for your left ear.
Yeah, what the... Hold on.
Oh.
Hey, this fucking sucks?
It's like you're playing violin with, like, a fluorescent light bulb or something. Fuck this. And that's the story of Prince of Persia. Next game.
Yeah, that was very Crazy Bus-esque.
I hated that music.
Rescue!
Putty Squad, unreleased on Genesis. We actually saw the Super Nintendo version on Mascot Friday, so I'll go ahead and skip it.
Okay.
Let's go with Rescue.
Ooh.
Poor Prince. Yet another Psygnosis game.
My god!
And yet another game developed by these folks, Tempest.
Demo scene-esque logo. So good.
Straight from the demo scene, getting screwed over in the AAA industry. Some things never change.
Okay. Like the music.
It's better than Prince of Persia.
Wow. Prince of Persia was music I could make.
Wow, biddly-lily-lily. Oh, cool cape.
No interplanetary corporate raiders from the Wellmax system. Oh no, a hostile takeover!
They're from a private equity firm!
Oh, thank you, the Ultimo, for the 250 bits. Ultimo tells us that the Tempest actually released this one on their own because they were pissed at Psygnosis.
Oh, good for them.
Thank you for the info, actually.
So they were proud of this game, apparently.
Looks good. I mean, I haven't seen it play, but...
From what I know, this is apparently complete. And it has a very long intro, so let's go ahead and skip it. Look at us.
Oh my god.
We are the coolest dude in the universe.
We look like a Tonka Rescue Heroes toddler toy.
See, this outfit, Ryu from Ninja Gaiden wouldn't be able to kick us in the nuts. We are protected. Your first assignment is more.
Got it.
So this is a game that seems a little bit similar to Blaster Master in that you have a vehicle you control, and eventually you get out of it and go on foot. You gotta rescue these dudes, I think. What is the get out of vehicle command? Like this? I'm sorry, I have to go through like 80 fucking games today. I didn't have time to test them all. I know you can... There we go. Okay, so you get out of your thing, and you gotta save these little dudes. So you go up to them, and you say, follow me. I didn't push the right button. Let's try that again. Dude was at least smart enough to not follow me into the lava. There, follow me. Let's do this. Yeah, there you go. And gameplay progresses like that, going through these wide open areas, landing your craft, and then saving the little dudes who are scattered throughout. If you can figure out how to get in your ship, that is.
You got it, just, you know.
Maybe that's why this was cancelled. Fuck it. Who needs the ship? I do, apparently.
Oh my god, you super died.
I like how he struggles in midair. He has a lot of neat little animations.
Damn, rip snail.
Yeah, take that, Space Snail. But it had potential. It had a large vehicle, it's got, like, jetpacks. What else do you need?
Hey,
come on, follow us. There we go. I see.
Moving on.
So we're gonna play it like that, huh? Robot Wreckage, you may not have heard of, but it actually did get a release under the name Cyborg Justice, which is an even better name.
Hey.
How about Slam, Shaq versus the Legends? Now, this game's a lot to take in, so I want you to focus on the next 10 seconds you see unfold in front of you.
Okay.
You ready?
In the 1992 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal.
Don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk.
Don't do it. Hey, I remember this song.
Oh my god!
They licensed the song.
Let the boys be boys!
Folks, don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk. Just don't do it.
Okay, don't. I am so sick of people in 2020 faking the funk on a nasty dunk.
I see so many people faking the funk on a nasty dunk.
Stop it!
Now, I think this game was designed to compete with NBA Jam, because I believe it's 2-on-2. And you go to each city, which each has its own variant of street basketball. You know how we do things different in Odessa compared to Sweetwater?
Yeah,
you all
true.
know. Oh, you know how we do in San Antonio.
Yeah, San
Let's do
Antonio.
this. It's like that pinball game, we just pull a gun out on you. And indeed, you can be Shaq in this game.
You're like so many Shaqs.
There he is.
He's on the side now. Side Shaq.
Side Shaq. And this game is actually very incomplete, sorry to say. But obviously EA, being into all them sports games, saw NBA Jam and they were like, hell, we want some of that. And they decided to use their Shaquille O'Neal star power to make it happen.
That's like 4 Shaqs.
That's a lot of Shaqs.
Shaq on Shaq on Shaq on Shaq.
It's a nut shack. Another weird thing about this game is that there's no half court. You don't cross over to your side. Each team has the same basket. Not quite sure how that works, but that is the case. And it is NBA Jam controls. One button for stealing, one button for shooting. You know, EA just wanted blatantly in on that money.
Just 4 fucking Shacks.
I mean, this would have sold. A game where you're 4 Shacks at the same time. And it's got that slam song at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What could go wrong? Well,
they're tripping all over themselves, so...
Yeah, these are actually very poorly made Shack androids. The technology has not been perfected. All they do is run into each other. I finally scored. It's nothing compared to Slam City, basically. Scottie Pippen had Shaq beaten on that front.
Play-D, and Shaq.
Luckily, EA would continue their license with Shaq and release a much better game, Shaq Fu.
Crisis of...
And that's all I have to say about that. Star Odyssey we won't get into because I think we've covered it before. It's a localization of Blue Almanac. Was set to be published by Sage's Creation, I think. Stone Protectors got released on Super Nintendo, but if you think I'm not going to play Stone Protectors, you're crazy.
You gotta play the weird masculine troll doll game.
Did you ever wish trolls weren't just for girls? Well, Vic Tokai has, and they were going to release this game on Sega Genesis. Now imagine, if you will, trolls, but for men's. What would they look like? What would they do?
They'd have their own cartoon, and...
And they would each play their own musical instrument, you're right.
Of course. They all look like a bunch of Alfred E. Newman Duke Nukems.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Alfred
basically.
E. Dukem.
Alfred E. Dukem. Let's play this guy.
Alright, who here's a Stone Protectors stan? Who here really likes Stone Protectors?
It was the time for this. There were multiple games based on biker mice from Mars. Alfred Chicken was blowing up. And this, of course, is a beat-em-up.
You're on rollerblades! Look at you go!
Yeah, I think all the trolls are actually on rollerblades.
Oh my god!
And your musical instruments actually figure into gameplay, because if you hit A and B together, you pull them out and start doing stuff. It's like an infinite use special move. Long, long ago, Macaw45 played all the way through this game on Super Nintendo, and he discovered that the saxophone player, whoever that is completely broken, and you can use their saxophone attack to destroy every enemy in the game.
That fucking rules. I'm glad there's sax tech.
So if you ever want to play through Stone Protectors for whatever reason, pick the saxophone guy. It's not this guy. He's the drummer.
Oh, he's whacking everyone with his sticks.
We're up to the S's, believe it or not.
Oh my god, we might make it.
Street Smart. Oh, this is a very different beta. I'll have to play this some other time because we have business with Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is one of 3 games that was set to be published by New Vision Entertainment. One of those games did get released. That's a boat action game called Beamini Run. They were also set to release a game called Beanball Benny, of which a prototype exists, but was sold and is now forever lost. We only have one very brief YouTube video of preserving it.
This is by the Beanball Benny game?
Yep.
Oh no.
They were going to make a game based on Swamp Thing. Yet another DC superhero who had a canceled Genesis game. Who's that guy following me?
The dragon! Go back to them!
Look at this guy. Who does he think he is?
You're just falling on your ass over and over!
Look, it's hard to be a Swamp Thing.
Well, you're dead.
He's all slippery. I'm gonna punch the shit out of this dude. Oh, you can't.
You have to escape him. That's Arcane from the cartoon.
Oh yeah, there was a Swamp Thing cartoon.
Whoa, what's that nasty creature? I love him. Who is that? No, don't kill him. They seem nice.
He just walked off.
They're just like, I'm not dealing
Like,
with
fuck this. Oh no, Swamp Thing.
You're slowly
He fell into hell? Okay, well...
I mean, Swamp Thing's life is kind of hellish.
Seems like it. Will it surprise you to learn that this game isn't very good?
Are you telling me the Beanball Benny people made a bad game?
I am saying that.
Not.
No, Swamp Thing. Don't fall to hell again.
He's so relaxed as he falls to his death.
This game's very early. They didn't do much work on it. Supposedly, if you beat level 1, the game crashes. That could either be because of this as a prototype, or because it was a bad dump. I believe this game was an overdump at first.
Wow!
That is obscene.
Oh my god!
That is obscene, Swamp Thing. No one wanted to see that. I'm one of the Swamp Greats now.
Hey, congrats! Thank you, Micro Smiths.
Sorry, Swamp Thing. The end is in sight. We're almost at the end. These games have been all released. How about we show off Time Tracks very briefly? This game was released on Super Nintendo, but notably it had a completely different soundtrack on that system. This version had an exclusive soundtrack by Tim Fallon.
It's great.
And it is top tier. One of the best Sega Genesis soundtracks. We're playing in NTSC, so the music is slightly faster than it should be. But boy, every single track in this game is amazing. Especially this one here. For some reason, during this briefing screen, which you look at for like 5 seconds at a time, it has a 7-minute jazz odyssey that plays in the background with multiple choruses and bridges. Like, Tim Fallon just went all out.
It's really good. This soundtrack is really, genuinely very good.
And it never got released. We never would have heard this if not for the prototype release. The game itself, well, just fucking look at it.
Is this Time Cop or something?
It's not Time Cop, and
It's kicking that guy in the shins!
if you're thinking maybe this is based on that one time-traveling TV show I really liked as a kid, no, you're thinking of Sliders.
Okay, I do get a Sliders vibe. Okay.
This is bootleg Sliders.
Were you into Sliders?
I saw some of it.
I was into Sliders.
It seemed alright.
Yeah, it was fine. They slid through time! It was basically Quantum Leap, but not.
Yeah, that's right. The only thing I remember about it is the whole premise is the guy's trying to get back to his own dimension, his own time. And one time he does. And the one scene I remember is him being all like, oh no, this is my house. The fence is supposed to squeak, but it doesn't. This timeline's fucked up. I gotta go. And then it's revealed that someone was taking care of the fence and oiled it.
Oh, that's so sad! Oh, fucking rip to that guy!
So he's stuck in time forever.
Oh man, rip to the Sliders, man!
Time Tracks. Wait, Sliders. Shit, now I'm getting mixed up.
Sliders, Time Tracks.
Game's very generic. Check out the soundtrack. It's great. Tom Clown.
Hey, what the fuck?
Oh, shit. Tom Clown, everyone.
Tom Clown, oh god.
How about Wacky Races?
Okay.
Tom Clown just admonished me.
Tom Clown doesn't need to. Tom Clown is a fucking cop. That's cool.
It's a very legal copy cartridge, Tom Clown. I'll have you know. Now, this game straight up tells you what it is. They didn't have a licensing agreement for this. They just made a tech demo based on Wacky Races. It's got all your favorite characters, including these guys. This car.
Penelope, that guy. I don't remember half these characters, I'm sorry. That guy.
I think one of them was Jabberjaw.
Ah, the caveman!
Okay, Captain Caveman.
Okay.
We'll go with them. And the game looks remarkably similar to BC Racers on Sega CD, which we played several weeks back. But it's neat because it has branching paths, it has a legit 3D engine running on stock Sega Genesis hardware, it doesn't need that Sega CD scaling hardware, and I think this could have been pretty cool. Unfortunately, I guess they showed it to Hanna-Barbera and they were like, no, this doesn't meet our Wacky Races standards.
Yeah, Ted Turner was like, I'm not impressed.
Do better, where's the polygons?
Okay, Electric Boogaloo mentions the developer of this game also developed the Genesis version of Joan Mac Caveman Ninja.
Damn. Well, they had some chops for working with 3D. It's a shame they didn't get to show it off. Even that map down there looks pretty nice and detailed. I don't know about that wacky radar constantly pushing its own buttons. It looks a little lewd to me.
Why did you mention that? No, that's all I can see now. Stop, Danny.
Well, we better move on. What do we even have left here? Waterworld, I think, actually did get a release on Super Nintendo, so we'll skip it. Same with Wild Snake.
Hey, we're ahead on time, so...
And so we move on to Zombie High. This game starts, it has no title screen, we don't know who the developers are, we don't really know much anything about it, but here it is.
Reminds me of... I'm getting a Zombies Ate My Neighbor vibe from the weapon and the guy's, look.
Rotten Roll. The weird thing is that there actually is a very similar game on NES called Ghoul School, where you went in high school and you had to shoot the zombies.
Yeah, I am getting a... I saw someone in chat call it Ghoul... Yeah, Zodaku called it Ghoul School too, okay.
I don't know if it's the same developers, or if they just had the same idea, but here it is. It has very good sound effects, as I'm sure you've all just heard. Many different farts. So many farts. Uh-oh.
Oh, God!
Uh-oh.
You're really dead, honey.
I was really dead. I love the hit noise.
Okay, so this is by EA. Alright.
You don't say. That doesn't surprise me. The sound design especially clued me in. This was an EA game. Zombies rule. I like how their heads fly off. I don't like much else about this. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Well... Rip.
I was beaten to a pulp. Like many of the games we've covered, this is very incomplete, to the point where it doesn't even have a title screen or any kind of identifying marks. And I think it ends here, actually. So, that's it. Zombie High. Check it out. Alex, believe it or not, we're not done.
But, okay.
Give me an interstitial, if you would.
Alright, we're not done, folks.
Because in the last several months, HiddenPalace.org has been very busy releasing new prototypes. Like, a lot of them. So we better get to work. Here comes some newish prototypes, including the one everyone wants to see.
Oh, good. I was gonna... Why is that so funny to me? I'm sorry.
Instant graffiti.
Like, blap.
Ah, thanks, Kodansha.
Kodansha.
Yeah, not to be confused with Kodansha.
Mm-hmm.
One of the many mysteries of the 90s is that many companies, multiple companies, were working on adaptations, video game adaptations of Akira. This was a popular movie. People liked it. It was an underground cult hit, as they called it. Why it needed so many ports, I have no idea. I want to say one of them actually did get released, the Amiga version, but there were also Genesis and Super Nintendo versions that never made it out.
Wasn't there an FDS or an NES game, too?
That's right, yeah, the Famicom one. It was more of a visual novel. This, though, this is a little different. It's one of those games that tries to be everything. So it has driving, it has first-person sequences, and it's also a side-scroller. We'll see those other levels in a second.
Just quietly driving around.
Boy, these future bikes are just whisper quiet. You never hear them.
They're electric.
Thanks, Elon Musk.
It's self-driving is going to start, like, hitting people. Okay, the Amiga version was only complete in that it was released.
You could say that about a lot of Amiga games. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Or it would have been if it was finished. Can we move on? Okay, luckily it'll let you pick a few different levels. And it even has cutscenes, which look pretty nice.
Oh yeah, it is kind of odd that it was mostly American companies or companies that weren't Japanese who were making these adaptations, huh?
Yeah, it was always either American or UK companies who wanted to make the perfect Akira adaptation for game consoles.
Like, we got this. We got to do this. We got to get in on this. What is this craze? This Japanimation. I saw this down at I saw this on MTV. We got to do it. Hold on.
Well, they got that part right. They definitely got that part right. Let's go to the hospital. Check it out.
Excuse me.
What do you think of my hand?
Can you get drugs? Can you pick up some drugs?
Well, let's go look for some. This is a first-person sequence that plays very strangely. I can't really get my head around it, actually. Oh, it looks like I'm sliding to the left or right instead of turning. How do you just turn? There we go. Okay. That would be a power-up. What is this?
Look at your little spitting drugs in the corner.
That man is holding my chicken leg hostage.
Get back.
Give me my chicken leg. Hey, he took it. Give me my goddamn chicken leg. Oh, I made him explode. Cool.
Yeah, psychic powers.
That's accurate. So I can appreciate this game's ambition. It tries to do a lot. Way more than it actually should. I don't suppose I can kill the nurse. Oh yeah, you can make them blow up. You can definitely blow up the nurses. Yeah, you gotta hold a button to turn. Whereas just pushing the D-pad makes you slide. And from what I saw of Hidden Palace's stream of this game, these levels are very large, very difficult to navigate. But they do have nurses you can blow up.
I do like... No, actually, I'm not really a big fan of blowing up nurses. But you know what? If you do you live your truth.
This is how I walk around a hospital. I just look at a wall and slide along it.
You're being asked to show off the animation of Tetsuo eating chicken.
Oh, okay.
How do we do that?
How to choose the... There we go!
Oh my god!
There he is.
Eating it.
He's eating that chicken. That's good. That's great. That might be the best thing I've seen tonight. Hey guys, let's go to the sewers. This scene looks fucking amazing.
It looks amazing!
Yeah, it's a little too fast maybe, but... Anyway, here's the game. This, I think, would have been the bulk of the game. As it is existing in this prototype, it's very janky. You can get caught in walls and floors. Occasionally, is this Tetsuo or Kaneda?
Oh god, please don't ask me.
Whoever it is, occasionally he'll get in this mode where he just, like, crouch jumps everywhere. It is very not playable. Well, sort of. I think you can actually beat some of these levels, but only just. It's very difficult.
This is Kaneda.
Okay, Kaneda. Good old Kaneda. What if Kaneda was from Canada?
What if Kaneda had a gun, apparently?
That would happen. He'd be shooting dudes in the sewers. Oh, I just kicked the shit out of a rat.
100 bits from SSFSX17. And they say bird brain.
What other levels we got here? So good. Oh, another freaking hospital scene.
Okay, I will personally apologize to that rat. Rat that we kicked to death. We're sorry.
It is your year. We should be treating you better.
I heard that starts like what, January 25th. So we've got a couple days until we have to respect rats or else.
Let's go to the Psychic Storm Wall and save Tokyo.
Okay.
This is not playable. And here we see the climactic scene of Akira, where Tetsuo and Kaneda stare at each other meaningfully. We compliment him on his cape.
I see.
He says we have beautiful eyes, and then it just all unfolds from there. It's a beautiful ending. See the movie sometime. It's a story of hope, of triumph, and love. I tell you, Akira, it turned me into a real crying dragon.
Oh, that's me! That's me! Hey, that's me! That's me!
You're
that's
the crying
me.
dragon.
Yes, that's me. Y'all...
This one here is a very recent discovery. This game just popped up on a cartridge. It was very quickly dumped. And it had all the preservationists out there asking, what the hell is this? Because we'd never heard of it before. This is all those kanji, crying dragon. Also frying dragon. This gives you a bunch of different chapters and scenarios to pick from, so you can actually skip around the game a little bit.
Look at you!
And you quickly find out, upon entering these buildings, you can push a button to make them talk, and you realize, oh my god, this was going to be a Sega CD game.
It was!
Mm-hmm. This would have had a lot of talking, a lot of villagers, a lot of different things to buy.
It's probably why there's no music.
Yep. Looks a little popful male-ish to me, actually.
Yeah.
Character art's not so bad, even. And anyway, you go out of town, and you discover that the game is literally just Wonder Boy.
Oh my god!
Everything from the way he moves to from the way he attacks. This game has a lot of pits, which is bad. But it has a debug mode that allows you to push up to grab onto an invisible rope at any time, which is good.
Hey, I love those non-working enemy sprites that are just...
Yeah, it's just glitches.
You're just being attacked by glitches.
Now, the either the creator or director of many of the Wonder Boy and Monsterland games, Ryuichi Nishizawa, is on Twitter, and people took this to him and they were like, what, did you have anything to do with this? This looks exactly like something you would do. And he said, I have never seen this in my whole life.
Well then, holy shit!
So who knows where this came from? If even the Wonder Boy guy himself doesn't know, who could say? The controls are messed up, by the way. I'm sorry I keep entering the menu.
No, it's...
This would have been cool. I would have liked to seen a Monster World style game on Sega CD. I guess we kind of did with Popful Mail. That's very similar.
Scarlet Swordfish says, Alex Kidd the Lost Sprites.
Pretty much. Oh, this is my favorite character. This is a boss.
Is that the crying dragon? Are they crying because they're glitched out?
That would be a good reason to cry. Let's see if we can beat him. Nope, something invisible is keeping me from reaching this character. Very
it's cool,
incomplete
don't worry
game.
about it.
But it does have a lot of debug information, so hopefully if someone dives into this someday, they'll find a lot of helpful information. Maybe someday we'll be able to assemble this into a playable video game. That remains to be seen, though.
Wait, the ROM header for this says arm wrestling? Well, what the
Yeah, there's a
fuck?
lot of questions that are unanswered about this game. How about Frog Dude?
Yes, please play Frog Dude.
Frog Dude has a very sad story.
Oh.
He loves, what is that, a strawberry?
I think that's a strawberry.
He loves strawberries. He's a frog. And yet, he's also a dude. This game also has no sound, unfortunately.
Weird.
It says you. Ever seen a frog dude before?
I get he looks like a Funko Pop. With like pupils, but like that. Look at him.
That's just cruel.
Is this an Amiga game?
It sure looks like one, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. So this is a side-scrolling platformer with a twist. You have a flail, you can jump, and if you hit the A button, you turn into Frog Dude.
Oh, I love Frog Dude. Okay. No. Screw that other guy. Frog Dude rules. I am sorry for insulting you, Frog Dude. I love you.
Now, here comes the sad part about this game. The developers had to make a choice when programming this. They had to decide to go with either this or the other game they had in development, which they perceived to be more marketable. Unfortunately, well, we know what happened. Frog Dude got the axe, and the game they were working on, Alfred Chicken, got released.
We could have had Frog Dude instead of Alfred Chicken?
Frog Dude got fucked over by Alfred freaking Chicken. That's why I'll never forgive Alfred Chicken. This game looks promising. It looks so good. It's colorful. It's got a muscular frog. Looks like the kind of guy you'd want to be friends with, unlike Alfred Chicken.
I just should have found the watering cans,
Should've
Frog
found the watering
Dude.
cans.
Frog Dude, you should have done better. Ooh.
And as this is just a proof of concept, this is where Frog Dude ends. There's just one level, no sound or music. Just a promise of a man who could turn into a frog. But apparently that was not to be, because Alfred Chicken was a more compelling character.
Imagine calling a 1-800 number and hearing Frog Dude. Oh my god.
You could have done that. That could have been what happened. But instead, we all live in the bad universe.
I was gonna say, this truly is a dark timeline.
See, yeah, if we were in the right universe, we'd be playing a fucked up prototype called Alfred Chicken, just being like, oh man, who would ever like this? Alfred Chicken sucks. I'm glad we got Frog Dude instead.
God, look at him go.
Sorry, folks, we live in the wrong universe.
His buff chest, his shirt is open so you can see his chest.
How about a game named Ship?
Yeah.
How could you lose with a name like that? We are in the bad place. Wow, I'm drunk as shit. Is that supposed to be me?
I love technopop.
This is one I hadn't actually played. I just downloaded it from Hidden Palace. Cool.
Seems,
Is it playable? Doesn't seem like it.
Desra says the next slide might be the one that takes us to Frog Dude.
Let's try that one again. I must
Okay.
have hit something wrong. Well. I hope Ship didn't brick my flashcard. That would be cool.
Hey.
Let me tell you something cool about Hidden Palace. Something I didn't find out until yesterday. I have a page on Hidden Palace. You can go to hiddenpalace.org/Danny_Cowan, and there's literally a page for me there showing all the games I released. What's even funnier is I found that page and they said I released War on Wheels, and I was like, what? No, I didn't. And then I looked at their like resources, their sources for what they said, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did.
You did release, you totally forgot you did it.
So thanks, Hidden Palace. It's really good that they actually archived this stuff because, you know, even the people who did it might forget. Another very popular game that Hidden Palace released recently is a port of Super Star Wars, and it's incredible. Thanks for the link.
Yeah, no, I wanted to put that in there just to check it out.
I didn't expect to see a wiki page for me anywhere.
I'm glad there's not like a description of you like Danny Cowan.
Danny Cowan's a real piece of shit who releases only shitty games.
Oh, I feel so bad because I was going to make that same joke, but I thought it was me. Thank you for taking one for the team.
So this is a port of a Super Nintendo game developed by not Software Creations, Sculptured Software. This was going to be ported by, guess who? STI, Sega Technical Institute, the people behind Baby Boom. It all comes full circle.
Imagine Baby Boom with... Okay, so you know they keep making people keep making babies of the Star Wars characters. Where is Baby Jar Jar Binks?
Where's Baby Luke finds Baby Leia, and they have to enlist the help of Baby Han Solo, who shot Baby Greedo.
Baby... They gave this baby a couple of guns.
I do like how the score is permanently set at THX 1138.
Alright.
That's something.
Okay, we're getting corrected in chat. Electric Boogaloo says, STI didn't do Baby Boom, that was fully high-tech.
Okay. Good to know. I get it mixed up. There's a whole bunch of things to keep in mind with these prototypes.
Jesus Christ.
So this would have been different because Luke starts with the lightsaber in this one, and you can in fact use the lightsaber and the blaster, whereas in the Super Nintendo one you had to choose one or the other. So they may have made it a little bit different compared to what was on Super Nintendo. And also, if you're familiar with the Super Nintendo Super Star Wars, you'll know that this version plays like dog shit, which may have been why it went unreleased.
Oh yeah, I didn't even look at the score and notice it was, the score is a reference to THX here. Electric Boogaloo also mentions this was not by STI, this was by Sega Interactive.
Man, I got it all wrong. Thank you for correcting me. The other thing this prototype is famous for is having two music tracks. One was the one we heard in level 1. The other one, which plays in every single other level, is the Cantina theme. That's so perfect you can't even make it up. So most of your time spent playing this prototype, you'll just be hearing doo 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 doo.
Okay, You know, I wasn't gonna mention it. I wasn't gonna mention the genre that the cantina music is, but
we always have to. Come on.
it's jizz. It's jizz. We love that sort of music.
I mean, we're outside the cantina, but close enough.
Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, he did fight a scorpion earlier, like in the
In Namco Star Wars,
yeah.
It's all making more sense now. Now you might say, come on, you can't play the cantina music in, like, you know, the Death Star or something, right? Imagine, if you will, Super Star Wars, but every level's music is the cantina music.
No way! Imagine Star Wars and the entire score is
yeah.
is just jizz, just jizz.
Thanks, Alex. A whole lot of the game is here, which is surprising, considering that the gameplay is in such an early state. They did want to make this a fully fledged port, but I guess they decided early on they weren't going to go ahead with it. Let's go with the Tractor Beam Core. The climactic finish to the game, which of course is backed by the Cantina Band. So good.
Why is this so fucking funny?
It just is. I'm glad it existed like this. Also, if I would have spent years tracking down this cart and I discovered that every level has the Cantina music, I would have been able to die a happy man. I would be very pleased. What else we got here? Well, how about the Flintstones? This, of course, got released on Super Nintendo, but they were going to port the game based on the John Goodman live-action Flintstones to the Genesis. There's one thing we all know, and that's Fred loves good music.
Oh.
So, of course, there's no music or sound in this prototype. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh.
Oh, he loves...
Oops.
Oh my god, Rip Fred. I hate the way that dinosaur looks, I'm just gonna say.
I don't like it either.
Those hyper-realistic wrinkles on its face are just like, no thank you.
Now, this is different from the Super Nintendo one. It's in an earlier state of development. For one thing, Fred no longer heaves every time he stops.
I do like that.
You'll remember in the Super Nintendo one, every time you stop running, he just is like, ooh, trying to catch his breath. And this would have been a very similar game, only on Sega Genesis. What a shame this never came out.
He seems to still have issues jumping, too.
Oh, he does. Fred has many issues, but he loves good music.
What do you think Fred listens to? What genre of music do you think Fred likes the most?
Rock!
Moving on.
Thank you, everyone. Let's finish off with a rare success story in terms of unreleased games. And ignore the joke I just made. Alex just gonna totally no-sell that.
No, it's okay. Everyone's screaming jizz, so...
My answer was better.
It was.
Way back in the day, they previewed a certain game by the name of Hardcore in European magazines. This was to be developed by DICE, the people who now make games for EA, and they're very scaled up to where they were, compared to where they were in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I gotta finish this shit up.
Yeah, our brains are leaking out.
I'm just hearing a loop of the Cantina music in my head right now. Anyway, that game got canceled, but years later it was resurrected as the pack-in game for the Mega SG. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, Analog's clone console. And it later got a cartridge release courtesy of Columbus Circle. This is Ultra Core. And this is one of the best games we're going to see tonight. Yeah, the Analog Mega SG.
Oh, that's such a good logo.
It is. I like it. Now this is a fucking video game.
This looks cool already.
Now, the people who made this are very obviously fans of Turrican, which you can tell right away. Turn this down on our end a little. And unlike many of the games we've seen tonight, this one is great. It seems pretty finished from what I've seen. The play control is really refined. This play's nice. You don't get caught on the floor or the walls. There's more music beyond the Cantina Band.
I do appreciate that.
And the fact that it actually did get a legitimate release is really great. Like so many of these prototypes, they're in a state of incompleteness, with their developers long since dissolved. No chance of it ever getting finished or seeing any kind of light of day. But this one, the circumstances just all lined up just so it managed to get a fully fledged, well, kind of, release for the Sega Genesis. Which is very good news, because this is a great game. Just freaking look at it.
We make air for your future.
Yep. Now there are some flaws. First of all, the Cantina Band music plays in no level. It should play in at least one. Second of all, the color palette's a little, dingy, gray.
A little bit of that 2000s gray and brown here.
It is of the era. But in terms of action, it's very fast. Lots of bullets flying around the screen. And it plays great.
Oh, this was going to be a Psygnosis release.
God damn it, Psygnosis, you fucked up so bad!
Well, what happened was, like you mentioned a couple times in chat, basically by the time Sony bought Psygnosis, they were like, oh, we don't want to do any 16-bit games, fuck all of this, we're doing 32-bit.
That sucks.
Yeah.
They had some of the best stuff in the works, and it just all due to that Sony deal. I mean, we did get stuff like Destruction Derby and Wipeout out of the deal, so it wasn't a completely bad move. But still, these were some of these companies at the top of their game. Some demo sceners. Freaking DICE making this. And yet it all had to be flushed down the toilet. That's right, they took the code for these games and literally flushed them down the toilet.
Literally, they printed it out, they printed the code out, like, the binary onto paper, many, many sheets of paper, and they just constantly flushed it. And unfortunately, the cost of repairing the plumbing was too much, and they went under. Real shame.
This game's real neat, because once you start firing while running, you can actually hold the fire button and walk backwards. That's neat. You can also change to a certain angle, and also lock to that. Basically, it has a lot more to offer beyond typical Contra clones of the era. And it would have been a shame if this just got entirely scrapped. And for many years it was. No prototypes were ever discovered, up until the release of the Analog SG. So thank fuck for that, because this game is great. I recommend it.
Man, this is cool.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say. No jokes, no nothing. This is great. This is really wonderful.
Now here's a call to arms to act upon at the end of this stream. If you can find the creators of Baby Boom, or maybe Baby's Day Out, talk to them. See if they can get a fully fledged cartridge release for those games.
Okay. Baby's Day Out, but Baby Boom, I would love to play a full version of Baby Boom. That's an amazing game.
I think nowadays gamers are more ready to accept games starring babies.
I think so too.
Maybe they felt threatened. Maybe they were all like, "Oh, why are these babies getting all these attention from the hot moms?" But nowadays gamers are more mature and ready to accept games based on babies.
Give me a second to process that phrase, those words, that...
Oh, why are all the MILFs all about those babies? Anyway, baby games, talk to me.
How have we gone so long without mentioning MILFs on our stream, and then all of a sudden...
It all ties in, it's all about the babies.
Dan indeed. I think we're more ready for baby mischief. We're more ready for, there's Baby Yoda who kills. He kills many people.
Yeah.
He even killed a stormtrooper by turning their weapon against them, all Star Wars.
Star Wars chess, it all came full circle.
So why don't they just do Baby Boom, but they put a bunch of baby Star Wars characters? Baby Yoda, Baby Jabba the Hutt, Baby Jar Jar Binks, Baby
Greedo. That's what they're planning.
Mm-hmm.
You know they saw the reaction to Baby Yoda and they're just like, oh man, who else can we baby-baptize?
Baby-tize.
It's like being baptized. And the way the game controls actually makes these boss fights pretty manageable, because you're not just locked to a single direction, you actually have control over where your fire goes. This is a real neat game. Also, I wanted to end this stream on kind of a hopeful note, being like, yes, see, these games can get released. Go on.
Everybody's talking about babies and baby-tizing and...
See, we're ready for it. Sega, make your new console and make nothing but baby games for it. Like, literally games that star babies. I think that could be the next big trend. Get Tommy Tallarico on the phone. Tell him to convert the Amico into an all-baby format. It's going to be huge. You just got to be ready for it. Anyway, this game rules, even if it doesn't have any babies in it. I'm just trying to spread the good word of babies.
Oh, cool. There's also, real quick before we end the stream, looks like there's a Switch, PS4, and Vita version of Old Ultra Core that are playing. So
Oh, sweet.
Be on the fucking lookout. This
Okay,
is cool.
yeah, I'll totally buy this for PS4. This is neat. Even the platforming is nice. Like, your jumping is just floaty enough. And I've died. It's also not an easy game, so be on the lookout for that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it has dramatic cutscenes,
God,
too.
that hair is so 90s.
Totally.
Maybe I should get that haircut. Just bring it back.
Yeah,
Fuck
bring it back.
Why not?
Get that haircut, storm into Sega headquarters, and demand your baby games.
Baby game.
Baby games. Baby games. Alright, well, that is an overview of pretty sure all or almost all the unreleased games for Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. Hopefully now you can see why I skipped the betas, because there's just so many damn unreleased games for Genesis. Like, what the hell? And not just like the typical shit you'd expect to see canceled. Like, NES has California Raisins. That was a shitty platformer based on a license that was popular for like a year. You can see why that was canceled. Genesis, in comparison, is just a hotbed of creativity and babies. Just all kinds of games from many different genres. The unexpected, the totally expected, the bizarre Star Wars ports. It's got it all. I highly recommend diving into the Sega Genesis unreleased library if you're at all interested in these games. Check them out, won't you?
Check out the games.
We're done. I'm freaking
done? Are we done?
I've played like 1,000 games tonight, and I feel like I am ready to take a break.
All right, just wanted to show off the Fido Dido pride flag here.
Thanks, Fido. Fighting
Fighting.
for gay rights in the 90s and beyond.
The orange, the yellowish orange represents Fido, and the deep orange represents Dido.
Excellent. I'm glad we could clear that up. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
We're Retro Pals. Boy, that was a journey. I feel like I've played a billion video games. So I'm going to rest up and not play any games for at least 2 days. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thanks to everyone who voted in this week's poll. It was very close, but in the end I think you made the right choice. Hopefully someday we'll be able to show off Cooley Skunk and other prototypes for Super Nintendo. But this was a lot of fun, and I thank everyone who voted. If you want to be a part of RetroPals democracy, head to RetroPals on Patreon. Patreon.com/RetroPals. Pitch in $5 a month, and you'll get access to our weekly polls. This was a good one. This was a close one. Again, thanks to everyone who voted and made this possible. We'll be back on Friday with Mascot Friday. It's going to be a special edition, courtesy of our friends at Sega, who gave us a review code for the Sega Ages version of Shinobi coming to the eShop this week. We'll be covering that, and I think we'll be covering other Shinobi games as well. Why not make it an all Shinobi stream? Just hell
good.
with it. It's time. It's time to give Shinobi his due.
Only Shinobi.
Only Shinobi. Switching to an all Shinobi format starting Friday. It's going to be great. Please look forward to it. Alex, why don't you wrap us up?
Sure. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/retropals. We post highlights of our show there, including our most recent post, which was the top moments of 2019 on the
Oh,
stream.
yeah.
Please check it out.
That's so good.
It's not just, we didn't just copy over like the clips from Twitch. We actually, I extended them. I put in more context of like, especially for Rats. Rats is there. Rats is there. The
Good
Nude
old
Puppet
Rats.
Loop is there. All your favorites from the cursed year of 2019 are there. Please check it out. It's very good. Also, if you like this show, thank you so much. You can, of course, support us on Patreon. You can subscribe. You can also follow us. We're actually at 1989 followers. We are so close to 2,000.
Gonna
oh my
hit that
God.
2,000.
Once we hit 2,000, the Y2K bug is going to kill us all. So
Thank God. All right, I'm going to leave y'all with our pal Macaw45, who is finally playing Flashback live on stream. He's a big fan of Out of This World and Prince of Persia likes, so it's good to finally see him get to the big one, the big boy, Flashback. So go wish him luck, have a great evening, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
see you, folks.